Paragraph 15 of the Colorado sales contract for real estate is going to cover closing costs and fees, association fees, and taxes. And so it's important to read through this because how these boxes are checked can really impact which party is bearing the cost of some of these items. So in general, in 15.1, both parties agree to pay all closing costs at closing. In 15.2, typically the closing services fees are split one half buyer, one half seller. These are between $250 and $325 total. So this isn't a huge fee in the big scheme of things, but it's important to know what your responsibility is for that. Status letters and record change fees, local transfer taxes, private transfer fees, and water transfer fees. These are all going to be very specific to your property. Whether there's an HOA, a metropolitan district, the actual location and how things are paid is going to drive these costs. So again, important to understand what those are and who's going to pay those as we go through the transaction. FIRPTA is a newer law that requires that non-U.S. residents pay additional taxes to the federal government. And so this is important because if the seller is a foreign person, these taxes are going to be due. And so we specify here if that's the case. And then Colorado withholding can become an issue if the seller is moving out of state or doesn't live in state to start with. There's going to be additional withholding. So the seller is agreeing to work with the state to pay those additional taxes. So that's the highlights of the closing costs. Again, the closing service is not that expensive in the grand scheme of things. Some of these taxes and transfer fees can add up. So we'll talk through that in detail on a case-by-case basis.